Hi guys, welcome to the 7th episode of Mountain Bike Rear Suspension series. In the episode 5, I showed you a great way to adjust your rebound speed damping using the curb test or the curb method. Since then, many people have been asking me to do a similar video for the compression damping. So in this episode, we will talk and discuss a bit how to adjust properly the compression damping. So stay tuned guys. Adjusting the compression damping is a bit different from adjusting the rebound damping. And what's the reason? The reason is mainly because the rebound damping, the rebound motion of the shock, the force that creates that rebound motion comes from the spring. While in the compression phase, the compression motion, the force that creates the compression comes from the bumps in the trail. So given that the spring is always the same, independently of the type of the trail that you ride, and given that your weight is always the same, in my opinion, the rebound adjustment is a set and forget setting, because the force of the rebound comes from the spring is always the same, your weight is always the same, so the rebound is quite set and forget. So do the curb test, find your critical damping and increase just a little bit the rebound speed from the critical damping. So if your shock has two external adjustments for the rebound, the high and low speed rebound, check the end of this video that I will cover that topic a little better. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is adjust your sag. It's easy. If you have a coil shock, don't put more than 2 turns of preload in the shock. Okay, so if you need more than 2 turns, change the spring, because more than 2 turns of preload will kill your sensitivity in the suspension or in the shock. Okay, after setting the sag, you tune the rebound using the method that I show you in the episode 5. And now it's time to adjust the compression. So to adjust the compression, there is no specific method like the curb test. You have to go to the trail and ride in your trails. The reason is that the forces that create the compression motion of the shock came from the bumps of the trails. So different trails create different types of forces, bump forces, so you have to ride on the trail. My quick tip, my advice is to start with no compression, no low speed compression and no high speed compression. So when I say no compression, you turn the knob to minus position or soft position, okay? So no compression. So now that you removed all the compression damping, let's start with the low speed compression damping. Okay, so what does the low speed do? The low speed compression affects the slow motions of the shock or the fork. So these slow motions are typically created by the rider input and also by smooth transitions in the trails. Okay, so if you feel that your bike is very soft, okay, when you pump the bike, if you feel that the bike is very soft to wallow, if wallows a lot, increase the low speed compression. If you feel that the bike bobs a lot when you are pedaling, increase the low speed compression a bit. In berms and in jumps, if you feel that the suspension is too soft, increase the low speed compression. Okay, so by increasing the low speed compression damping, your bike, your chassis will become much more stable. Okay, it will not compress so much. This was the low speed. The high speed affects two things. Square edge bumps, okay, fast impacts. That doesn't need to be a strong impact, it just needs to be a fast impact, okay? Roots, rocks, curbs, big drops, okay? So that's all high speed compression movements. So to adjust your high speed compression damping, you just need to focus on the bottom out. If you feel that your bike is bottom out very often and very hard bottom out, increase the high speed compression. The problem of high speed compression is that if you increase too much the high speed compression, you affect negatively the sensitivity of the suspension. Okay, so more high speed compression, the suspension bottom out less, but on square edge bumps like rocks and roots, the suspension becomes very stiff and harsh, and that's bad for the traction. So increase the high speed compression to reduce the bottom out, but don't overdo it, okay? Just use the minimum amount as possible. And the same also applies to the low speed compression, okay? Increase the low speed compression to increase the global firmness and stability of the bike, but don't overdo it, okay? So if you increase too much the low speed compression, you also get loss of traction. If you have an air shock and you still have many bottom outs, even before you increase the high speed compression, I personally recommend to first put some spacers in your shock, if the shock allows that, in order to decrease the volume of the shock and make the spring curve, the air spring curve, more progressive. Okay, so you can reduce the bottom out by increasing the progressivity of the spring curve. So by doing this in air shocks, you increase the progressivity in a position sensitive way and not in the speed sensitive way, which means that you also have your progressivity, but at the end of the travel, and you will not sacrifice the small bump compliance as the high speed does. Okay, so air shocks, first put a spacer in your shock, and if you still have some bottom outs, then increase the high speed compression. If you have a coil shock, sorry, but you cannot tune your spring curve unless you use a progressive coil, which is something that I never saw in the mountain bike industry, and personally I don't know why. So as I said in the beginning, the rebound is quite set and forget. Of course you can always fine tune depending on the trails. If you have a rocky trail, just increase the speed of the rebound a little bit, but rebound is mainly set and forget. The compression depends a lot of the type of the trails that you ride. So let's talk about some practical examples. So in this kind of smooth trails, I recommend to increase the low speed compression. Okay, so more firmness, more stability on the berms, on the bumps. Okay, more low speed compression. If you ride in a very rocky trail and bumpy trail, but without major jumps, just decrease the low speed and the high speed, because in this case you need maximum traction and maximum subtleness. So decrease the both compressions. If you ride in a normal trail but with big jumps or hard landings or flat landings, increase the high speed compression to reduce the bottom out. If you like to do some climbing, just increase the low speed compression to reduce the pedal bob and increase the stability. If you do all of these kind of trails in simultaneous, just get a setup that is kind of a mix between all of them. Okay, so you have to tune and to reach a good compromise between the compression damping and the traction and the stability of the bike. Okay, so if you have a low and high speed rebound damping adjustment in your shock, also known as beginning and ending stroke rebound damping respectively, my quick tip is to start without any rebound damping in the both in the high and the low speed. So remove all the damping. Okay, so now you do the curve test and you increase in proportion the both knobs gradually until you get the critical damping point. What I mean with this? So for instance, in the Cane Creek double barrel shock, you have 24 low speed rebound clicks and you have 4 full turns in the high speed rebound knobs. Okay, so when I say increase in proportion, in this case it means that for each 6 clicks that you do in the low speed, increase 1 full turn in the high speed. Do the curve test, find your critical damping, When you reach the critical damping, my advice is to reduce a little bit the high speed rebound. Okay, so turn the knob a little bit to the minus position or to the fastest position. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, so then you do the curve test again until you get just a tiny oscillation in the curve test, like I showed you in the episode 5, in this case with 7 clicks on my rebound. Okay, so I'm sorry if your brain is on fire right now. These things are sometimes can be quite complex to explain to other people. But basically just tune your rebound damping with the curve test, okay? Fine tune the high speed and the low speed and so on, and set and forget, okay? Don't worry more about the rebound damping. For the compression damping, you can play a little bit with the compression damping, and it depends of the type of trails that you ride. If you get too much bottom out, increase high speed. If you feel the bike too soft, increase the low speed. Just to finish, if you want to visit Portugal and riding here in Portugal, because we have great trails and great weather, talk with the We Ride guys. They are my friends, they are pretty nice people, so talk with them and schedule a date and visit us and ride with us, because I think you will love it, our country. So guys, thank you everyone, thank you all, and we will see you in the next time. So bye!